Hey there, YouTube friends. Mass Bandit here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me again today. And we have the rickety cell phone cam all set up, my pencil, and I throw my pencil, some graph paper. So that must mean it's another drawing video, which means it's probably another Dungeons and Dragons video. And it is. I've got a game session tonight, and I need a map drawn. I have a battle planned, and we'll see if it actually happens. But nonetheless, we've got a battle planned, and I want to be able to draw it out so my party can see what's going on. This is just simple. I printed this graph paper off the computer. I'm using just a standard Ticonderoga. I think it's a Ticonderoga, the best, standard pencil, I think. And what we're going to be drawing is kind of a ridge, or I guess, we're going to have the trail that the party is on is going to be going through some pretty steep terrain, and they don't know it yet, but they're going to be ambushed. And I have a couple techniques I've been watching and practicing, and I'm going to share them with you today. So let's get started right away. I know that I want to have about 10 feet of clearance for the party. I'm going to have the party kind of march through this area 2 by 2. So each square here is 5 feet. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to be about here. I want to go ahead and just kind of rough in my bottom of my ridge line. It doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of close. And I want it to swing up here, kind of come this way, and then it's going to lead off the page. So this is just a part of the I guess, road that the battle is going to take place on. So, and then I'm going to have another 10 feet. I'm going to do the same thing. And what I'm going to do here is creating my ridgeline wall. And I'm going to leave it kind of jagged because I want to be able to connect some points with it. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to have it meet right there. And then it's going to start swinging out this way again. And then I can I actually might make that a little bit bigger. Make that a little bit bigger. Like that. Now hopefully it's okay to see. Looking at my camera, it looks like you can see pretty well. I'm pushing pretty hard. I can actually now go ahead and erase that, which I'm okay with. I want to make sure I leave 10 feet of room for them to leave. And now this is going to be the other side of the trail here. And so we're going to kind of give them some room here in this little area. Give them some options. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. Like, what are the options that they can do if push comes to shove? Trying to make sure that they have different routes to plan here. I don't know. So there we go. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to have another 10-foot area here that starts to come in a little bit. And it's going to swing out, and then it's going to kind of do this kind of weird jiggly thing. And it's going to connect there. And we're going to have another little space here where they'll be able to come up onto that ridge if they so desire, if the way the battle works allows it. And that's going to continue off in that direction. Cool. Now, that looks kind of weird for right now. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to use this method. I think it's from 2 Minute Tabletop. I think that's where I saw this. We used lines, and we used different shaped lines to kind of create triangle, weird shaped things. Like, I'm going to bring this line down here, and like that, I'm going to connect these two lines. And then I'm just going to build off of this and just kind of do random stuff. Just putting in random lines. Kind of just thinking about this is kind of my little cliffside here. And I'm starting in this corner, so it's a little bit easier. And if I go over the line, that's fine. This is all rough draft anyway. I know I'm pushing hard, but I'm going to go back in and ink this properly. So we're going to go like that, and then maybe up here and here. And I'm going to fast forward through this now, and you can see my process where I just kind of bring the line down, bring it down, and then just add a couple more in randomly, trying to make it look like an uneven rock face. So I'm going to jump into time lapse and finish that up, and then I'll be back. So I really enjoyed doing this style. I think that it needs some more refinement. And as I go across, and I'll mention a little bit later, I think I figure out a little bit better how to do it. I need to watch the tutorial at least one more time to try and get some better ideas and some better shapes to this little ridge here. But overall, as a first attempt, I think it's successful. So it doesn't take very long to finish this portion, thank goodness. It always, of course, helps when you speed things up 6 times. So Alright, so we have this done now, and I think that immediately makes it feel much more 3D, which I really like. I think that's really cool. I want to do more, and I think I'm going to have to do more with color in regards to like making like a little lip here where the grass is going to kind of start peeking in. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that yet, but like this I feel like should be rock and like, or at least like dirt here on the lip, on the edge of this ridge. And then down in here is the trail. And the trail's going to continue that way. I want to do some trees. And in my test map, in my rough draft, I made my trees way too small. So I'm going to make some really kind of, we'll say, 5, 10, we'll make really kind of large trees. That'll actually probably be off the map here. Because my first, like, I was making trees that were like 5 squares big. I was like, that's a bush, that's not a tree. Like when you think about from the air view like this, the trees would be really wide, like a really wide canopy. So I have to be kind of careful I don't put too many in. But the idea here is that this can obviously provide cover for the party, but also kind of provide some choke points too, maybe. Like, I don't know, like I'm gonna let them, like if they want to use these trees as cover, I'm cool with that. We have some people that need to use cover. We have we have a rogue, and in general cover's pretty good, but my original rough draft had little trees everywhere. I think just 3 really large trees. This is supposed to be a bit of a drier, not quite forest area here. They're kind of up in the mountains a bit. And so yeah, I think just 3 here will be really, really good for what we have cooking for this battle. Cool, that'll be good. I also want to I do want to put in some bushes, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. And you see what's interesting here, and for me, it's kind of cool to be like, oh look, these are clearly, like this just immediately fills up so much more of the map and makes it feel so much more, I think, alive and far, far more interesting. And I want to be able to use this terrain in a fun and interesting ways. Like I thought about having like rocks here that maybe the baddies can use to push into the canyon. So if anyone is there, kind of like a trap, I think that's kind of fun. That's a fun idea. I'm not sure quite how I'll do that, but I want to have a fallen log here. And I think we're gonna have the logs start here and just kind of, I'm gonna make it all jaggedy. And we'll go back in and make it a little more in depth in just a second. Have a part that kind of sticks out here and it comes down like that. And then here's our bottom of the log, and we'll bring it back this way. And so it's not very wide here. This will be interesting, an interesting choke point. But that's fun. I think that makes it far more interesting than just you're in an open field, now go fight. And I'm gonna put in some extra little nubbins back here to kind of create this illusion of depth. And just by coloring these in a little bit darker, which I'm gonna do better when I ink it, it'll hopefully make that pop just a little bit, and we can add do some like bark texturing. It's, you know, I'm just kind of swirling here, little like figure 8 looking things. It's not great, it's not perfect, but it gets the idea across. And maybe another bush here. And they could use these to give themselves like, you know, quarter cover, maybe. Something like that. That'll be kind of good. Just thinking of things in a way my party and the way my NPCs and my bad guys can interact with this terrain. I think it's really kind of fun. And then I'm gonna have just some pebbles down here to show that like this is the bottom of the cliff. Just to really kind of drive home that, nah, this is a rocky little area here and you are stuck here. And I'm sure you can figure out that the bad guys are going to be up on the cliffs here, shooting down onto the party, which I think will be lots of fun and make for an interesting battle. They have to make the choice. Are they going to try and climb? Are they going to try and go around? I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. So it's really fun. This part of the story, the party has a lead towards a bad guy. And I don't want to say too much in case any of them watch this, but this battle has probably already happened. Excuse me. It's probably already happened by the time the video comes out. So This is an ambush after they, because they've kind of interrupted the bad guy's plans here. And the bad guy has started to take note of them. And rather than things going according to plan, they get ambushed on this trail before they make it to their final destination. So we'll have to see where they go. That'll be cool. So, yeah, I think that might just be good enough. I think that might be good enough here. Yeah, I think I want something here, but I'm not quite sure what I might want here. No, we'll leave this open. This could be more of an open area, and we'll leave this more open. Just throw some more bushes in here. I'm trying not to be too much adhered to like the grid, like making every bush 5. That'd look kind of silly. I am trying to show though that like this bush here is, you know, it's taking up most of that tile for the player, so they'll have to go around it. Cool. I think the next step is going to be to ink this. And this will be interesting. Like I said, this is a brand new strategy for me that I've never used before. So it'll be cool to see how it all comes together. I'm not going to be doing the inking in real time. I'm going to do that during time lapse, and I'll talk to you a bit more, maybe about the campaign or about something that's about the map that I've noticed while I've been doing this. So, and then once all the inking is done, I'll quickly go over how I'm going to color it and what my thought process is. So I'll catch you on the other side of this time lapse, but hopefully you enjoy. So yeah, see you on the other side. I think it would be good to talk about what's happening in the campaign to understand why this map exists. In our campaign, like I said, it's a low magic steampunk campaign, and the party has recently arrived in the city of Ironstead, which we drew in our last drawing map. And throughout their time here, they've spent a few days here now on a long rest. We're doing a different rest system. It stretches everything out. Anyway, they have 2 full days in this city, and they've been doing all kinds of crazy stuff. They've learned a lot about the world. One of the things they did is they went into a special bakery in town that sold something special called wild honey or wilderness honey. And it's something made by the elves. And in this world, elves are very rare, especially where we're playing in the campaign world. And the reason elves are incredibly rare is because when the humans came across the ocean, they basically took over and chopped down all the forests and used them for fuel for their steampunk technology. So the party is starting to learn a bit more about the history of the land, and they're trying to find this character called the Scientist. And the Scientist has kind of been the driving force for the campaign thus far. And they're trying to find out where this guy or girl is and where they're at and how to defeat them and stop them and just kind of see what's going on. And so throughout the long rest, they learned that they need to go to this town outside of Ironstead called Ironstead. And that's where this trail comes in. And as they go on the trail, the road is going to be getting narrower and narrower and steeper until they are forced into this little gorge area here. And they can't go more than 2 by 2. And so once they're properly in this area, a trap will be sprung. And see, what happens is the Scientist has eyes and ears everywhere, and the party doesn't really know that yet. So they've been ratted out, and the Scientist has an ambush waiting for them. And what's going to happen, hopefully, what may happen, is the trail might go cold here, which I'm okay with because there's a lot of stuff going on in the city of Ironstead that they could get themselves, that the party could get into, or they could continue. There's another lead to the Scientist story in a different part of the map. I'm trying to give them multiple avenues of where to go and what to do. So if things go according to my plan, which if you play D&D, you know it never goes according to the Dungeon Master's plan, the trail could potentially run cold here, and they'll have to go do some other things until they are more ready. Of course, if they do find the Scientist, he will absolutely destroy them because he's much stronger than they are. And I say he. I haven't decided yet if it's a he or a her or an it. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. Anyway, just about done inking, so let's kick it back to real time. So now that the map is all inked up, I actually I'm really happy with it. In the time lapse, you probably noticed, yeah, I did some work. I rearranged these, and as I was going through, I think I started to figure it out better. The big thing here that I haven't done yet is the shading, at least not on these little cliffside things here. You'll notice I've got some hatch lines here to indicate shading. So that means that the sun is coming from, if it's coming from the bottom left of the page. If the shadows are being cast this way, then the sun's coming from the opposite direction. And we can sort of do the same thing. Now with these mountains, it's a little bit tougher. And again, this is my first time really doing this technique, so it might end up not quite right, but I just want to make some of these feel like they're tucked behind the other rock faces in an effort to kind of give some more depth and dimension. And I think we'll be okay as long as we don't overdo it. The problem here is I probably won't know that I've overdone it until I've overdone it. So, and we're gonna keep these hash lines in roughly the same direction as the other ones. This style, this from 2 Minute Tabletop, is much more of like a hand-drawn watercolor style. I think he actually uses a tablet and paints them on the computer, which is something that I've considered doing, but for the longest time, I was debating whether or not to get a drawing tablet. I can't justify the cost based on how often I think I'd be using it. I don't think there's any any like amount of, I'd have to draw and make drawing videos all the time in order for me to justify that for myself. And I know that's not what this channel will ever be. So I don't mind. And you know what? Someone in another video, I think in the last video, mentioned, that they have computer software or computer programs that can draw maps. Yeah, but that's not the point. The point here is that I enjoy drawing, and drawing maps is actually, like, it's a fun outlet for me. And I'm the first to get behind new technology and, incorporating technology and all that stuff, but there's nothing wrong with going a little old school, hand-drawn stuff once in a while. So actually, I think that might be it. And I like it. It actually kind of makes them pop. Maybe we actually need a line right there, and then I can come in and do this. And apologies if my mic's a little far away. I have to remember to kind of sit up when I'm doing this. Yeah, that looks okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the whole page over, and I'm going to start on this end doing the exact same thing. Like, this one is one of those that I think is clearly, although now would have to be on the other side. I really don't think it matters. This is like so fractal. Oh, my hash lines have to go in this way though. This map is so this technique makes like fractal looking that I don't think it really matters. I just trying to give some depth to these rocks. And actually I'm going to bring both of these down here to show that one is poking out. We might just do this whole side here. Actually, I like that a lot. That actually looks really kind of good. It just kind of happened that way though. Like, you just kind of look around and look at what you want to stick out, I think, is kind of how this is supposed to be. Like, this one feels like it needs to be behind this one. And then this one might even be shaded, indicating that there's just this little ridge that pokes out here, which is kind of cool. Like, yeah, I did one really rough sketch and then an actual rough sketch of this map before recording for you guys. So this is the third attempt, but the first for actual use. Like, we're actually going to use this. I'm excited for this map. I'm excited for this battle. It shouldn't be too hard for them. They should be able to overcome it relatively easily. Maybe not relatively easily. What I try to do is I try to make most of my battles, since we don't battle every episode or every session. We're a very roleplay heavy group. And so I like to, when we do have a combat, ooh, thunder, kind of make it count. Just thundered outside. So I try to make most of my encounters, at least in this early stage, and it being lower level. I think the party is currently level 3. Yeah, they're level 3. Most encounters that I make them are rather difficult, just because they're young adventurers, they're new adventurers. So just that simple fact alone means that most battles here, and with our altered mechanics, our low magic mechanics, make it so that the battles mean more, because they can't rest. Like, a long rest is several days, not a night. So if they get injured, they're stuck for a couple days. I'm debating whether or not to do this one. No, I don't think so. I think this might be it. And we can reinforce this idea with some color, with some smart color choices, hopefully. I'm gonna turn the page this way. This guy needs to be shaded, and it needs to be shaded this way. Yeah. So, and people have been asking me about my low magic campaign. It's all homebrew. I've done a lot of scouring on the internet to find low magic resources, and it's steampunk, so that actually helps. There's a lot of cool homebrew steampunk stuff out there. I've got a couple different PDFs, a couple different files to help me build encounters with custom monsters. They're not my monsters, but they're definitely not in any monster manual or anything. I am using some of the monsters from the monster manual, like not monster manual, but Volo's guide and Mordenkainen. I always say his name wrong. Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. There's some clockworks and stuff in there that actually work pretty well. And the thing that's crazy about these clockworks, because that's what they're going to be fighting here, they're going to be fighting a whole bunch of robots and steam-powered robots. The thing about this is they're immune to several kinds of damage types, which makes these combats even more hard. So I've been helping them out, giving them things that they can actually use against the baddies. So here we go. Here's the finished, I think this is the finished inking. And I think what we're going to do is, well, I think we're going to go in and use some, what's this? We're going to use some Ohuhu markers. I think I mentioned these. I know I mentioned these in the last video. Some Ohuhu markers and alcohol-based markers. We're going to go ahead and ink this up. I'm pondering going over the whole thing with this light 0.5 warm gray color. This is like my favorite color. And then just kind of blending stuff out from there. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to think about it. So we're going to hop into time lapse for the entire inking process. There's no reason to do that in real time. Chat a bit more, and then we'll do the final, bring it back for the final product reveal. Cool. It's hilarious because I just said I was going to draw the whole map in this, and it's my favorite marker. It's my favorite marker so much that it actually is running out, as you can see here, which at first I was really upset about because it completely destroyed what my initial plan was. However, I do like this blotched, it's really silly, but I like this blotched look that this 0.05 or this 0.5 warm gray gives me. I decided to stick with lots of brown tones, and I decided to get this done, this ridge done first. I think because to me it was the most important, and so went in varying degrees of. I think these are all technically grays. They're just warm grays, and they just get darker and darker and darker. One thing I'd love from these Ohuhu markers is if they had lighter shades. A lot of these colors are exceptionally saturated, which when drawing these kinds of maps, to me, really limits a lot of the choices. Like, I have over 100 markers, but I really only use about 12 to 15 of them when drawing these maps. So, but I mean, it's a new experience for me. Like I said, I haven't gotten a lot of experience drawing with these yet. This might be my fourth or fifth thing I've used these markers on, but I'm really happy with how this log turned out. I think the shading on the log here is actually really pretty good. It's my favorite part of the drawing, as dumb as that is. I have this beautiful green that I do like to use for my foliage. The problem here, and I'll talk a little bit about it in real time, is the green for the ground. At this point, the map looks great, but again, these markers are so super saturated. It's kind of hard to get a gentle look, I guess, with the screen that I'm going to be using. But I mean, I think it looks good in the end. I think this is the best colored map thus far, which is always nice to see. One of the things that's important is just being okay with the learning process. I struggle with, well, this isn't perfect, so I'm just gonna whatever. I'm not gonna show it, or I'm not gonna record it, or I'm not gonna. The process is almost as important as the outcome, I think. And so, especially with these drawing maps, drawing is a very personal hobby to me. And so sharing this is kind of putting myself out there more so than the gaming videos I do. So it's been nice to look back at these videos and realize that there's been improvement. And you can see this marker is also running out. But this is it. This is all it took. Not a very hard map to draw or color. So, that was really simple color-wise. I didn't try to go overboard. This green is too bright. I don't have like a lighter version of this green. And this one just feels a little too strong for me. But I would have had to go into a yellow shade. I actually keep with me, whenever I draw with these, depending on what paper I'm using, I have my little swatches here. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, so like, here you go. This is what I'm kind of looking at, just so I can see what the color is actually going to look like when I draw with it. And maybe 41 would have been a better color for the grass, but then it just would have felt too bleh. I don't know. 104 maybe? I don't know. The problem is I keep using the same colors, and I know I talked about this in the time lapse. I keep using the same colors, and they're drying out. But what are you going to do? The colors work. What I do want to do, and this is kind of backwards. Usually I do all my inking first. I want to add just a couple little grass tufts around here to be like, hey guys, this is actually grass. Just add a little bit more detail to the map. I think that'll help quite a bit. Like, I think it's amazing what just little lines will do. That's the thing about I love about drawing maps. You don't need to be spectacular to get something that you can be really proud of. Like, I'm such a noob at this, but I feel good when I do these. It makes me feel good. I like the way it looks when I'm done. And that's what's important more than anything else, is you enjoying it, the process, and enjoying what it looks like. And I really am happy with how this came out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it an episode here, and then I'm going to upload this. I'm going to scan it. I'm going to upload it to Roll20. That's where we're going to play. And I will put some tokens out, and we will have ourselves a nice little battle on the ridge here. And I'm super pumped. Hopefully you like the way it turns out. Hopefully you like the way it turns out. You think it looks pretty cool. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm gonna pull some of this over to we'll emphasize that shading some more. But that's it. This is our ridge battle. So that's pretty cool. And I wish I could tell you how it went. I'm sure it's gonna go great. It's already happened by the time this video comes out, but I'm drawing this the day of the battle. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully I don't kill everyone. But if I do, I do. Them's the breaks, I suppose. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me. So if you enjoyed, please do hit the like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And we'll do another one of these. I've already got another one in mind. So with all that being said, have yourself a great day, great night, great whatever, and I will see all of you for the next drawing map. Talk to you later, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.